asalaamaaleykum mbokk yi ñoo seetaan ak fu ngeen ñu mën a seetaane si àdduna si ñun la ba tey waa Gambian Talents TV toogal leen fi tey nag di Adama Faye ci beneen tambambalu show tey nag ma tambambalu ndox nag ba daje am ndaanaan muy ndaanaan kenn werantewut ndaanaan boo xam ne fii képp ku fiy binda rek di wax di tas xibaar rek mooy sa président mooy sa njiit kooku nag du kenn du Sirif Bojang Junior waaye ba tey rek si biir programme bi dinaa leen bàyyi ak moom mu wax ak yéen waxtaan ak yéen tey nag tambambalu jaxas baxas lañ wax parce que man dama am tey gan te gan gi ma am nag mooy loolu léegi-léegi mu làkk angale léegi-léegi mu làkk olof te tambambalu yéen xam ngeen ni dañuy def ba mu baax moo tax nag tey ma bëgg leen a bàyyi suma gan rek mu def ak yéen ba mu baax. Chef, you welcome to tambambalu.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Can you tell us who is Sirif? Can we Sirif?
Well, my name is Sharif Boyan Jr. I'm from Brikama, born and bred in Brikama. All my childhood in Brikama, from a very ancient traditional part of Brikama, also very politically charged community in Brikama. My family, my grannies and my father were all very political and were all very instrumental in the formation of the first post-independence political party, ruling party, the BBP. Okay. And yeah, so I grew up living the life of politics. It's very natural, very normal where I was born in Brikama. Everything that we did as kids was political. We were taught from childhood that PPP was part of us, and supporting any other party at the time would be considered, perhaps maybe a bit exaggerating, but will be considered an abomination. But that was a childhood, but normal childhood, playing football, going to the, to the bush, hunting, and doing all the crazy things. And then, I then moved, left Brikama at some point when I was at senior secondary school, because then I started writing for Observer as a writer, and then I moved to Bakau. Then that's where I continued my life until I left the country to go away.
I'm talking about writing for Observer. Sirif, can you please tell us about your educational background?
Not much, and unfortunately, perhaps you would have wanted an educational background that can be romanticized or glorified, but no. I went to Bottrop Junior Secondary School in Brikama and then Senior Secondary School, and from there, from the classroom into the newsroom, I started Daily Observer as a young, reporter running around town, freelancing, getting news for a source of living, but also to follow my passion. And then I went to the UK in 2002 under a Reuters scholarship scheme. Then went to college and in Newcastle, in northern part of England. And then I felt school was not for me, because still I was writing in England. I was writing for New African magazine regularly, and which is the biggest Pan-African magazine in the world, and also doing a lot of other random jobs like any other immigrant. But first, the urge to get quick money to go and work and get money and look after the family back home, propelled with also by the fact that I felt I could do a lot outside, and I saw staying at college as a waste of time for me at the time. And I opted out. I took time off school, I went to work, and I never returned. So, and then, I have no regrets at all.
You're right, you have no regrets, that's the reason we are here today with you. So Sirif, can you please tell us about family? You have talked about education. Can you talk about family too?
I'm from a very extended family in Brikama. My dad had 4 wives. Most of the time they live apart. So, and then I have 9 siblings. a lot of them, some of them living in other places because my dad got a lot of houses too. So we were living apart. So, and today some of my siblings, especially my brother, the same mother and father, we don't know how to chat. We're so shy of each other because we've never ever lived together.
Okay.
The people among like my dad's 4 wives, those I'm closest to are not, my biological mother is not one of them. So I'm close to my dad's first wife. My mom was the third, and then I was still I'm closer to my dad's first wife than my own mother, because I was raised by my dad's first wife, and the kids my mom raised are not her own kids, and they are closer to her than their biological mothers. I think my dad did that deliberately because that bond between us. I think if I'm to thank my dad for something, in a list of things, one of them will be marrying 4 wives and having all of us and giving us the opportunity to get to know each other, to appreciate each other, to love each other, and to be raised by other people who are not our own biological mothers. That's very beautiful. And in terms of other aspects of the family, my brother, he's also a journalist, Modu Bojan, his name is. I think my writing started with him.
Okay.
He never went to English school. He just studied French and taught himself English. And my whole life, writing, I started with writing letters. Then you have this pen palship where Europeans or people in Europe or America and stuff, they exchange letters through post. I was a kid. So he was writing, he's got a lot of pen pals, and he was writing a lot. I was reading his letters, I was stealing his letters, I was reading, and I was writing, just plagiarism, verbatim what he wrote. And along the way, that's where I developed my writing skills, and that's where I developed passion for writing. And then another brother, my cousin Sheriff Bojan, the owner of Standard newspaper, came along and groomed me into writing, first inspiring me because he was a very fine writer, and then I wanted to be him. So he raised me professionally. The final part of my family life, I got married a few months ago to an amazing woman, and I never knew I could marry. I never thought I was ready to get married, but we met and I married, and the rest is history. I'm happy.
Wow, that's interesting. Suma guy like mo bien ko degal marriage la waxe, so I'm not going to leave you alone. Now tell us how you spend your Valentine, since you're talking about how amazing your wife is.
Actually here, in this office, we spoke on the phone. I think we spoke maybe 5 out of the 24 hours. But then I was here because my wife lives in England.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm here. But I was here till very late at night because of the deadline, because of we're launching basically in under 2 days, and the workload is it's just crazy. So I was here till late at night, and the fact that I live just across the road, I live not far from here. Okay. So my life for now is this office and then my house back and forth.
Okay, Steve, can you explain to us, growing up as a young journalist, what were your constraints, your hurdles? Well,
first was, so at that time, now people are, I think now things have improved a lot. I've always told the younger crop of journalists that you have a lot to celebrate and to be thankful for. When I started, there was no single journalism institute or center here, either short-term or long-term, zero. No university, no tertiary institution that was doing journalism. So that means your only opportunity to study journalism would be outside the country. And not everybody, it wasn't just easy to just go to Europe or anywhere else to study. So it's from classroom into newsroom, and we learn it the hard way. I learned the trade on the road, the field. Every day you make mistakes, sometimes you fall, sometimes you rise, sometimes some mistakes were not noticed by editors, some fundamental mistakes and errors and blunders, but then you were so vulnerable. I was vulnerable to making those mistakes because I didn't know them. Then at the beginning, even Google. Now you can go and Google things, you go online and teach yourself. When I was starting journalism, 1998, 99, everything internet, even having computer was luxury. I remember I had a typewriter, and somebody gave me some folk, this guy in the US called Baisa, sent me a computer, and then I became the first person at Observer to own a computer. And my own computer and then a digital camera. I had a digital camera, I had no idea how to use it. Each time I took it out, people were so excited, like amazed, the screen and everything. I had no idea how to use it. But then I remember Observer had they had celebration, I don't know what anniversary. I became the staff reporter of the year. And the editor, I still remember when he was talking about me, we did it at some hotel somewhere, I can't remember. And he also said that, you know, amazing, Sheriff writes his own stories. Now thinking about it, like, so write it, like type it on the computer, because everybody will use pen and paper, write your story, give it to somebody. There are typists. You give the paper to them and they type. And then they give it to layout editors, and then the editors and whoever it's going to. But the fact that I had a computer, first I had typewriter and a computer and I was typing, that amazed the editor. So you know, many years down the line, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, you know, we've come far. But then this is how there were issues of finances. I mean, you know, my salary at Daily Observer, eventually I was staff reporter, fully employed. My salary was $1,000. Sometimes I go to Brikama because I was always proud to contribute, and not that my father needed it, but then I will always buy. Out of that, I think bag of rice was 400 or 300. I can't remember. Okay. But out of the 1,000, I will buy a bag of rice, and because I was so excited, so happy to do that, so proud to contribute that to the house, my dad's main house, I'll give. But sometimes I'm there, even coming back to Bakau, where I was at the end of the weekend, I couldn't afford fare. Bakau to Brikama to Westfield was $3, and Westfield to Bakau was $2. So $5 I couldn't even afford it because the 1,000 was already gone, and my dad would give me money. So I would buy rice for my dad. At the end of the day, he will give me money to come back to Bakau because I couldn't. So that was a lot of money. That was also, you know, when you are young, you think, you know, you can change the world. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about anything. But I think we found comfort in the fact that your byline, we challenged the status quo. I think Observer at that time, I mean, we were the youngest folks there, but it was like family. I remember one time when Baba Joe, one of the biggest ally of President Jammeh at the time, Baba Joe was a co-president. He was not taking instruction from Jammeh. He formed the July 22nd movement. People were scared of Baba Joe much more than Jammeh. I mean, not many folks were scared of Jammeh at the time, but Baba Joe was, you know, when Baba speaks, you listen. You know, when Baba warned you, you know that you are warned. But I remember he will say, or, you know, came to Daily Observer after they bought the paper, you know, Jammeh and him and APRC, and then said, no more opposition story to be written by us, to be carried by the Daily Observer, and singled out then the politician Lamin Wajwara say every day is on the paper, this paper is bought by me for the president, nobody will know not to publish. That day I was not at the office, but my editor called me and say, this is the thing, Baba Joe came with the huge people, July 22nd and all that. He said, no more Wajwara. I said, okay, so we have to challenge this. Yes. He said, you sure? I said, yes, because I was head of the political desk at Observer at the time. I shortcut my weekend in Brikama, came back to Bakau. Then as editor, we had a little meeting, people we trusted, you know, because then there was a lot of NIA within Observer, they planted there. So I said, no, we're not going to accept this. If nothing is going to be done about it, I will go to a rival paper. Then I went to the rival paper, the Independent at the time, and granted them an interview and told them this is what Baba Job said, you know, at a meeting. And my reaction is, as head of political desk, we are not going to accept this. We either do what we have to do, or some of us will leave. And then they put the story out the next day, and it was really crazy. I was out of the office, and Baba Joe came, was shouting, was looking for me. I was not there. But then I came, and I mean, I knew I had enough. I would not accept that condition. And then I went downstairs. There was a little restaurant called Jagley, and then I wrote my resignation letter there. And then I took it. I came upstairs to Observer and tendered it to the director, finance director or something, because the managing director was not there, and he took. But then everybody was aware that I resigned, and it became a blessing. Everybody came down to the restaurant and said, "Oh, we had you resign." I said, "Yes." Everybody resigned. The entire editorial board, including foreign nationals. The editor-in-chief was a Nigerian. A lot of the folks are Sierra Leoneans and what, they all resigned. Everybody showed solidarity and told me, "Oh, you know, my editor said you should have discussed this first before you go, and you know, and talk to the rival paper and so." But now that you resign, we resign. And guess what? Daily Observer, every person who resigned, I think maybe it's over 15 of us. They called everybody. They took 2 days to call them, to convince them, "Oh, please don't resign." For me, it took 15 minutes. They rolled back and say, "Your resignation is accepted," you know, with immediate effect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and I left. We all left. Some went back. People like Chief Manny, may God bless his soul if he's dead. Chief was, I got Chief into journalism. We were best of friends. And other folks, a lot of them went back because of pressure. Some they threatened them, some they threatened their family. For me, I had to leave the whole of Comoros to go back to Brikama because my family was worried. A lot of people were looking for me, and yeah, but it was a beautiful time too. Very tough, but beautiful.
Wow, that's great. Now talking about the former regime, you mentioned Baba Job, you mentioned the former president Yaya Jammeh. We learned that you were in exile. Can you tell us life in exile?
If I'm to repeat, to do that, I wouldn't want a repeat of Jammeh anywhere, not just in the Gambia, anywhere in the world. I think it was terrible for the country, it was terrible for the people, it was terrible for the human race, you know, regimes like that and people like that. But, you know, I did 10 years, I did a whole decade in Dakar, in exile. There were a lot of bruises, but I think I am what I am today because I had to go through those bruises, those life bruises. When I first arrived in Senegal in 2007, my Wolof wasn't good enough for anything, almost zero. My French, zero, even though my mother studied French up to kind of high school level. My siblings, they all, apart from one, the one I'm next to, everybody else is more French than English because my mom is partly Senegalese and was married to a Senegalese before, and then other siblings, you know, so everybody could speak French, but not me. Now perhaps okay, but no. So I didn't know where to start. My first challenge in Senegal is, where am I going to start? I got there, it was too complicated, it was very strange, Dakar was very strange.
Was it self-taught?
Well, I got arrested, released, taken into detention, released, and then I took off for fear of persecution. Perhaps if I had stayed, nothing would happen, but perhaps something would happen, because the release took a lot of efforts, a lot of people were involved, and I had to leave because I could vividly put a mental picture of the tortured bodies of people like Musa Sedikan, my very good friends, who were cut with bayonets, their faces cut with bayonets, putting electricity on their genitals and everything. I knew that story, I stayed with them in that story, I told that story many times. So I was thinking perhaps the same could happen to me, and I didn't want. And I fled, I went to Dakar. So the first year was tough. I mean, March and stuff. By 2008, 2007 was very tough. I was trying to find myself and reinvent myself. I didn't know what to do. I was supported by my dad, which was, and I didn't want that. I didn't want my dad to be sending people to bring me money or things like that. I didn't want that. I tried to stop it, I couldn't stop it. But, so the whole of, March 2007 all the way to around that December, so almost the whole year, I was hosted by a very good friend, a journalist at the time, and one of the torture victims. You know, Musa Senghel is a symbol of dictatorship in this country because they broke all his bones, every joint. They cut his face with bayonet. They cut all his, put acid on his back. You know, everything they did to him to an extent that he's kind of, you know, deformed. So, but he was there in exile. He was there before me and his family. They hosted me. Amazing, amazing, amazing people. And they made me feel at home. They knew what I was going through, very independent. And in this francophone country, I couldn't work. There was nothing to do. And then 2008 came. I picked up a job, not paid much, some, you know, little online radio project started by an amazing woman called Ami Diouf, a Gambian who was also in exile there. You know, and that's where actually my life as a radio broadcast journalist started. Before that, I was just a print journalist and stuff. But then immediately I realized that, oh wow, life is changing. My Wolof was good. You know, I'll tell you a secret. The girl I met in Senegal was, when I saw and I wanted her, was the issues where I couldn't express myself in Wolof that much. So all the time I'm like, her name was Monas, and then we'll stand and I'll be like, then I'll be like, Monas, it's like, Sheriff, hold her feet. For a second. You know, and then I will actually, I think she told me Wolof, but then it was a terrible one too, because coming back to the country now, I don't know so many things you say in Wolof. I have no idea. The other time I was somewhere and then the kid was there. I think it was Bana I was crossing, and then a lot of people, this kid, I don't know how old, but a very young girl was just like, oh, uncle, I was 7. And I'm just looking, I have no idea what is 7. I'm like, so, like, yeah, but I have no idea, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Until she started being herself, and I'm like, whoa, okay. You know, a lot of all this stuff. But yeah, 2008 when things started, I started picking jobs. Then I thought, I think it took me like a couple of months with that project, because my editors were the colleagues that I worked with, were Agnes John, a Gambian who is still based in Dakar, and she's the Director General of West Africa Democracy Radio, an amazing woman. And the second colleague was Ibrahim Asila, who is now the current Minister of Information and Communication. So they're both very great radio journalists. So they told me that for me it wasn't, you know, wasting time. I said, okay, so I need to make money from radio. So in 2 months I should feel that I mastered radio production. And then I was going to their houses sometimes at night. I said, no, you know, cool, I need to do Adobe Audition, I'm stuck somewhere, I'm multi-track, I need to do that. And they told me how to. Immediately I felt confident that to do radio. I knew I could produce radio program, launch show, documentaries, features, you know, current affairs, everything. Then I wrote to radio. I just went online, Radio France International English, RFI. So I just saw general email, I wrote to RFI, and then 2 days later, when I wrote, I said, I can start right now if you want. Like, I'm super hungry, I need money, I need to do this and stuff. 2 days later, I think a Senegalese Minister of Aviation at the time, or Transport, actually got some thoughts, these militants, to go and burn some newspaper houses. So one of the editors at RFI in Paris found me, hi, is that Sheriff? I'm like, yes. You wrote to us about the job. I said, yes. I was sick. I said, yes. It's like, okay, there is a story in Senegal about this and that. Can you work on it, produce it, and send a report of like between 2 and 3 minutes, something like that. And then within the next 2 hours, I say, I thought I should do training. He said, this is your training. I met the deadline. I think that week alone, perhaps I did at least 5 reports for RFI. Then after I still work for RFI. Then many years after that, within the next 9-8 years of that, I covered everywhere for RFI, including Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone. I was all over West Africa for RFI. Then when RFI came, I was inspired and motivated. I wrote to Radio Netherlands, like, I need a job, I'm here, I'm Anglophone, I do that, and they got back to me very easily. And Radio Netherlands was always there, so I never had anything to worry. This is in 2008. Then I didn't care anymore. I never had anything to worry about because I will target Radio Netherlands. A month I will do, let's say 5-6 features for them a month. Let's say, I know I have at least $500 with them every month. I don't have to struggle because it's script. I will write up little features, short, 700 words. RFI, I'll go all over. Senegal, sometimes taking sacrifice to 2009 when Guinea-Bissau president was assassinated. I had to cross quickly, becoming perhaps one of the first journalists to arrive there after he was assassinated for RFI. But then when that happiness and my life, I thought it changed, then, you know, these things happened, then tragedy kicked in. My dad passed, my brother passed, and in between my sister passed. So I lost my father, I lost my sister, the same mother, and I lost my brother, the same father. And it was so very quick. My sister never recovered from my dad's death. And yeah, so I contemplated suicide at some point. I was so beaten and everything, but then I knew I need to pick myself. It took some time. I went down again because I couldn't do anything. The fact that I was just across the border, everybody is dying. Then I lived with a nightmare. Telephone, I hated telephone calls. I stopped using telephones because when the phone, especially at night, I panic. So I always panic, like at night I cannot. For months I couldn't sleep because I was always paranoid about each time I had a call. I was always thinking my mom's dead or something. I was dreading, you know, about that and stuff. But then I think after a few months I accepted that, and then I moved on again, and then West Africa Democracy Radio, then France 24, then Al Jazeera, then everybody, then yeah, then it was easy for me. Then whether I make a lot of money or not is in my hands, not in the hands of anybody. Every little thing I saw or I heard, I could make a story from it and somebody will buy it. Then it gave me freedom. The beautiful thing about it is it gave me freedom to travel all over the world on someone else's budget. I never ever bought a ticket in my life, and I traveled everywhere, Europe, Africa, all over West Africa. On a regular basis I go everywhere, but I never ever bought a ticket in my life. I don't even know how tickets cost, how much they cost. So it gave me freedom to move all over the world at someone else's budget.
Okay. That was very sad and an interesting story. But during your time in Dakar, when you were on exile, did you have any relationship with Killer Ace, D.A. Jawa and others, because they were also on exile?
Yeah, they all, well, I met D.A. Jawa there, because D.A. was my editor. D.A. is like my father, even before we met in Dakar. I mean, one of the people that grew me was D.A. Jawa. He was my editor and news editor at Daily Observer. Amazing relationship. Still today, we've always had amazing relationship. So yeah, me and D.A. was helpful. I remember when I arrived that week and stuff, and he called me, I went to him, he gave me some money. It was a lot of money at the time or something. Killer Ace and others, they came late, but yeah, we had, I mean, I wouldn't say I had, but yeah, I would call him, check on him, because I've never heard of him before. I mean, when I was leaving this country, I left Born Africans here. I didn't know. When they told me about Killer Ace, I had no idea who they were. I left Born Africans and the Fuji Thieves and all those. I don't know these other ones. So when I heard about him, so the first interview when he came, I brought him to the studio at West Africa Democracy Radio to talk about his song, to talk about his lyrics and his activism, and you know, things like that. And yeah, we'll check on him. Unfortunately, we couldn't. I know we still now when you see me, you'll be like that. I never went, you know, to visit him because I was always working like crazy. But yeah, we will meet places. I will call him. I call him to another Gambian too, because my house was always travel all over. At some point they had money issue and I felt so guilty because I took a big chunk of their money because I was always traveling everywhere. Sometimes at least 2 hours notice he will say, oh Sheriff, you know, Burkina Faso, there's revolution, they're going to, and then I'm on the plane heading to Burkina Faso because Sometimes I have just 2 jeans or 1 jean. That's what I go on. Shirts and jackets, that's it. I don't need to prepare anything. All my equipment were in my bag. They're still in my bag. I don't need to go home to prepare. Within 2 hours I can head to the airport straight away and my passport is always there. But the only problem came when the Ebola outbreak. During the peak of the Ebola outbreak, I was reading news. We all didn't know that we knew it was risky, but I was reading news. Every day I'm producing and reading news about Ebola killing people. West Africa Democracy Radio is the biggest media outlet focused on West Africa. Nobody competes with us on covering West Africa. The BBCs and stuff, forget them. Sometimes we are their sources. But I thought, no, this is not what I want to do. So we, West Africa, the only media dedicated to West Africa, all our resources, everything. So now Ebola is in West Africa, and every day my news, I'm giving reference or credit to New York Times, to BBC, and so I say, nice. No. So I went to him, I say, look, he knew, he said, Sheriff, don't touch it, leave it. I mean, please don't. I say, no, we need to talk. This Ebola, I say, I know, I knew you wanted to come and say this. Please, for this one, I will be happy and I will be proud to break my promise. You're not going. I say, no. Every day we talk about Ebola. Okay, the reference. Oh, according to BBC, according to this, I am embarrassed, I am ashamed. And also the fact that with Sierra Leone and Liberia, I was there, maybe each of them 10 times before Ebola. I knew everybody, my friends. I love this country. I say, so we have to, so he said, okay, tomorrow, let's talk tomorrow, I'm leaving now. I say, okay, but think about this, we need to go in, not to cover it here, we need to go to Ebola country. He said, okay. But the next morning, I didn't know, he came and then I was saying, okay, do you have a minute? I said, yeah. He said, come to my house. He said, you know, we never covered Casamance. The remnants of rebellion, landmines are still, people's legs people are losing their legs, tourism is still dead because of the rebellion. What about you go to Casamance, spend 2 weeks in Casamance all over, do stories of landmines and this and that. I'm like, okay, it's exciting. I'll go to, but I was a bit, okay, Casamance, Japanese people, and I'm like, okay. But I agreed. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I went to Casamance, and there is always financial freedom. You always have more money than you can spend. And then went through Casamance, everywhere, one village to the other, doing a lot of stories. Came back, produced everything. I was so quick to produce everything into series, like 15 minutes, 5-part series on different aspects of Casamance, the impact on tourism, agriculture, all those things, landmines, meeting victims of landmines and going to places where they believe landmines are still under the ground and all those. When I was done, we put them, the day we were putting them out, our partners put the message out everywhere, and then I went to his office, I said, okay, so I'm done. Produced, delivered, they will be broadcast today, the series. Let's talk about Ebola. I said, no, I was going to tell you, Cape Verde, I said, I'm not going to Cape Verde. There's nothing in Cape Verde, it's just tourism. You want to retire or chill. I don't want to do any of those. And he says, Sheriff, I don't want to do. But then it went to a stage where, so I came, because it was difficult to leave Senegal at the time, very limited flights were going. And Senegal, if you had left the country at the time, anybody who would leave, they wouldn't let you come back. Even their citizens, you go to Ebola countries, you cannot come back to Senegal and stuff. So it was all tricky. So I contacted RF. He told me, he said, no, I cannot do it. It will be like, I would rather send my own, so I cannot let you go. I said, okay. So I contacted RFI, that I'm gonna go. They say, okay, so legally we cannot ask you to go, but if you go in, we will buy your stories, do stuff for us. And then I went to UN Women, and now I'm going to go to Sierra Leone and Liberia, and so they're like, oh, no, people are dying. I said, okay, so if you can, I'm going to do stories for you, images and videos and audio on gender issues, like the women on the front line of Ebola and stuff. Then I give them to you in exchange for your vehicle on the ground and your office on the ground. And money, it was good money. And once I got all that, I went back to Soiman, my boss, and then the computers, Everything the company gave, I put on the table. I say, I'm working out today. I will never come back. If I owe you money, keep my last salary. If it's not enough, we arrange for installment payment. I'm going, with or without you, I'm going to Sierra Leone. And then I leave, I quit. So he said, okay, give me time. Tomorrow morning we talk. I said, no, we're not talking. Keep these things here. Either I go or I leave, I quit. He said, you want to do this? Look me in the eye and say, I say, I want to do this. You can die. I say, I would rather die there than stay here and not do anything about it. He said, okay. But when he came the next day, he called, and so I was not mentally prepared to leave that day. But he called, I think they did he asked the admin of people to do the reservation for the next day. So when he came the next day early in the morning, he came and say, he called everybody. I was in the studio, the other side, where his studio big. I was on the other side of the studio, and then it's like the technician received a call. It's like, oh, the glass chef, go to the conference room. When I went there, I saw everybody there, and he was there. He was very nice guy, but he looked very angry and very like tense. Everybody was sitting, nobody knew, because that was not the time for our meeting. Nobody knew what it was. So he said, okay, I want to tell you to announce that. He's very nice. Started, history. Oh, the place, Ebola, we cover West Africa and stuff, and we know Sheriff. So I want to announce to you, to say, everybody, Sheriff is leaving for Sierra Leone tonight. And then I'm like, what? Tonight? He said, tonight. He's leaving for Sierra Leone. Remember him in your prayers. Wish him well, but he's leaving tonight. Thank you. And he walked out. So I went to his office, and like, Suleiman, he said, go home, pack, prepare. Tonight you're leaving. Like, okay. Then the office, everybody hugging, like, taking a selfie in case you die. So some friends, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to be a star? Are you trying to be this? Are you trying to be that? And stuff and so. I didn't want to. So the first thing, I went to a pharmacy, because so what actually sparked my passion and interest to go, every day my friends in Sierra Leone, like Sierra Leone, everybody called me Junior Sheriff. Hey, Mr. Junior Sheriff, are you coming? Because I went there every time, like, are you coming? Oh, this one, you remember, like, the fixers that I use when you remember when we went the story you did on this, he died, Ebola. He said, Sheriff, are you coming? I'm like, ask if you can help. So I was so emotional, I'm like, I'm going to go. But then I went to the pharmacy to buy, because all the pharmacies were closed, doctors were dying, especially that week. People were dying, they just lost the biggest doctor there, Dr. Khan, and everybody was dying. So even if you are sick for today, they will take you to Ebola center and stuff. So I went to the pharmacy, bought, I'm like, okay, do you have tablet for stomach problem, like diarrhea or something? Yeah. Okay, give me, I don't know, give me 500 of it. Do you have one for headache? I make sure everything, painkiller, the pharmacy, like, are you selling on the pharmacy? I say, no. I'm going to an Ebola country, and like, I'm not selling to you. I don't want to contribute to your death, your suicide and stuff. I went to another pharmacy, got some, and then at the airport they tried to stop me. But first, my landlady at home, amazing woman, and the husband, I went. It's like coincidence. That night, with the bags, the tablets, and everything, I went in, and then my landlady had my door, was living in a small apartment, and she was in a bigger one with the husband. And they came. It's like, because they knew I move around a lot. It's like, Sheriff, we wanted to talk to you. This Ebola thing, don't do it. We've been reading about it, we've been watching. Hope you don't go. I said, oh, no. I said, I'm going to Zimbabwe today and stuff. I went. So they never knew I was there until late, because they watched something on Africa 24, and the landlady said, Sheriff, we saw you. You went to Ebola? I said, yeah, and stuff. But that was after the 3-month quarantine period. I mean, the 3 months period and stuff. Okay. So I went, first the target was stay at hotels, and immediately I got knocked off immediately, because there is a hotel that I will go to every time. I love them. The hotel people became family. But this time it's a room, I think it caters for 98 guests, 98 room. When I got there, I was the only guest, because nobody was going to Sierra Leone, everybody. And I felt so bad, even with that only guest. my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, always on time. I told them, don't cook for me, it's only me, don't worry, say no. They will cook everything, like the service, and then I went, the people that I knew in the hotel, friends, some of them, they were not there. I asked, it's like a few of them, you know, because hotels were all closed, they maintained their hotel. I was the only guest for a week and a half, and they had to, you know, to stop the work of everybody because they couldn't pay. But then from hotel, you know, when you got there, you got closer and closer and closer to it. Then I found myself in the treatment center. This is where Ebola victims are. This is like the danger zones. It took time, but then I got accreditation to go everywhere in the country. So one treatment center to the other. I arrived on a Sunday, very early in the morning. That Sunday alone, I saw like 53 dead bodies because I was with the Red Cross body collection team. They were picking bodies all over the place, people who died running and everything. And we went, and then it became natural. But then the beauty of it made me, so West African Democracy Radio is every nationality there. Some people I didn't even know their names. Like they wouldn't say hello to you, don't say hello to them. Everybody is busy in their headphone working and going home. But it made everybody closer to me every day. Because I will send I call it the Sierra Leone Ebola Diary. I will send some documentary feature home, and they will be broadcast every single day, maybe about a dead body collection team, maybe about the women fighters of Ebola, every front line. But every day they will all send me an email. Every day everybody will send me at the office. Some I just know them by name, send me email, wishing me good luck, saying they cried after listening, you know, and blah, blah. But at the end of every letter they will ask me, well, what do you want to do when you come back? Because nobody wanted me to go back to the office. They wanted because they didn't feel safe and stuff. So, but it worked. And it was a personal journey for me. And before that, with all the tragedies in Dakar, my family, I never cried. I never shed tears. And I thought I was sick. I thought I was not. But with Ebola, the moment I left Freetown to come to Casablanca, before the flight even kicked off, is when I was there, I never cried, I never thought of anything. All I wanted were the stories of horror. This is what my passion was. But the moment I turned my back on that plane, it started. I cried on the plane so hard I thought I would die. And then the memories became not the dead people, but the living. The rich people sitting in the street like that. Sometimes you see someone looking, you go somewhere 15 minutes, they're sitting in the same place looking. I saw families who lost 16 members. Wow. I saw a place, only a dog was there. I saw people, I saw everything. And I cried so hard. Now I'm very, very vulnerable. I cry so many times now. I always cry now. It changed everything, and this was a personal accomplishment for me. But it worked too for the manager, for his trust to let me go, because after that we won awards. And for the Ebola coverage, I was a finalist for the CNN African Journalist of the Year and everything. So it also brought us a lot of funding. Oxfam came with $1 million. A lot of other people came, and they wanted to post Ebola and stuff. And I got to travel still places to talk about it, to conferences, but I never managed to do a full speech, because immediately every conference I try to speak about Ebola, it takes 2 minutes, I'll break down. Then all the memories were coming back, and people were wasting money to take me, to pay me to go and do that, but I could never say anything, because immediately I started, then it's like I'm seeing these visions again. They're all coming back, and I started panicking, and I had nightmares at night. For many months, I always had nightmares. I couldn't. So a couple of friends moved into my apartment because I was afraid. I always had nightmares, but it worked. And if I'm to do that all over again, I will do it without even hesitation and stuff.
That's great. Wow. But I know you say that like tambambalu like what? My tambambalu na benyo na padaje ndana. Ndana man a well-seasoned journalist with lots of experience. Ko xamne dem na fu nekk. Ba tay rek comme numa len ko waxe won moy president ni GPO bi. Still we would like to know about the January 2016 documentary that you made for your dad. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to, I was angry at what had happened because I was not, of course, everybody knew that there was dictatorship. One of the worst dictatorships is in this country where people could be yanked away from the street, from your home, even by just for saying hello to the wrong person and stuff. But then coming back to the Gambia, what really angered me and frustrated me was not the killings, the use of force and all those things. What really frustrated me was the fact that the country I left and the country I found, I came back to two different countries. I remember the first time, so I during the impasse while old, I just wanted Jamie to leave. I just wanted to come home. I didn't know what I just wanted to come to feel the warmth and humility of the Gambia and the beauty of this country. And because the whole time I was in exile, there are places physically that I had missed so much. And unfortunately, it's not my hometown, it's not Brikama. My memories of Brikama were never there.
Okay.
But places like Bakau, places like Timbuktu Bookshop, when I came, I realized that they're now in a story building instead of some little place that I left them. So I came, I was at the border, Karang with the Senegalese troops. Every day I waited for them to come, whatever, to take them out. It wouldn't happen. I'll go back to my hotel in Karang, disappointed. I couldn't sleep because I was like, what if I had sleep and they crossed the border? I've waited for this all my life, this opportunity to go in with them. And that is, but eventually I convinced some foreign journalist friends who all contacted me. They wanted to come to Gambia after I came to do a story on me, because I was still afraid, kind of wary, to just come back with the soldiers and everything. Then without the Senegalese troops, I will have to come back by myself. Then I called some friends, friends from VOA, from RFI, so just European friends, the whites. I'm like, okay, if you guys want to do a story on me, you come to Karang, we go together. Maybe when they see me in the middle of white folks, they might, they might hesitate to do something. And that worked. They came, a bunch of them. We crossed together. I was hesitating. When we got to Bara, like before that, I never took that road. Never knew where Karang was or Bara or something. When I was fleeing, I went to Kazama. So I didn't know that Bara place or something. But when we got there, I saw the tension. I'm like, no. So, but I couldn't wait for the ferry. I couldn't wait any longer. I just wanted to go to Bakau, Cape Point. These are the places that stayed in my memory. And for like 15 plus years, I didn't. I just wanted to go to Timbuktu, to go to places. And when we came, we were waiting for the ferry. There was no ferry, a lot of fear, and people. We had to take the boat, the little canoe. And we crossed, we rented a canoe to cross to Banjul. When we got to Banjul, then the next problem was Denton Bridge. But I decided if they recognize me and they want to do anything, I'll throw myself in the water or something, or I'll put up a fight, but I will not let them torture me or something. But when we got to the bridge, the soldiers, there were I think a couple of soldiers, they didn't even look at us. It's like they were chatting or doing that, and then I couldn't believe it. So for the next 2-3 hours, I told the driver, you know what, let's just go, just drive around, because we rented vehicle from Dakar to come. And I think when we got to Bara, then crossing, we rented another vehicle, a taxi, and I forgot, I didn't know where things were, but I remember the arch. Because actually 15 years being away is not a long time. But for me, I had to switch off the part of me that was missing in the Gambia. So eventually, still now I'm struggling to turn it on, because I switched it off and it worked so well I couldn't remember anything. I know I had my nostalgia, I missed Bakau, Cape Point most of the time, that Fajara, and some friends, So, but then we came to Bakau, I think after Denton Bridge, some place to Cape Point, and just driving slowly. And the more we drove, the more I got angry, the more I got confused and lost. Bakau hasn't changed. That was good for me because I saw. But when we got to Fajara, after MRC, the British High Commission, to turn to come to where the Lay Battle is.
Yes.
When we got there, I got lost. Then I got angry because the places I left there, the restaurants and stuff, I found some things there. These are not what I left. So immediately we passed there, I realized everything was new. Then I got confused. This is not my country. I mean, everything. So I got it was a huge emotional roller coaster. So that experience and every memory, then my dad and everything, after going to, it took me 4 days when I came to the Gambia. I was staying in some hotel, staying away because I was thinking what I wanted to do. I was dealing with a lot of emotion. I was crying so hard, crazy. I didn't want to see my family yet. I was thinking, what will I do? What will my mom do? Will they collapse? Will I collapse? And the 4th day, I said, okay, my cousin came and we drove. Said, okay, I'm going to go to Richmond today. So I said, okay, so done. I cannot surprise my mom. Call my mom and say, we'll be there. And my mom told my cousin, nah, come on, it's not true, like joking. When I saw my mom, and that was something else. And because when I was in exile, I had to stop I didn't want my family to visit me because I wanted to be a man. I wanted to move on, not to be weakened by anybody and stuff. So I didn't see my mom the whole time. So, you know, then going to my dad's, to the cemetery, to where my dad was buried. The worst thing was, so next to my dad, like the family, everybody is buried around the same area, the family, like, you know, because we have the chieftaincy and all those things. So next to my dad, I saw, because there are so many people I wanted to visit that day. I think half of them I saw their names on the grave. Then I asked my cousin and everything, but I was going to visit him today. He died. He said, yes. He died. Yes, my aunt, my uncle. Some of them I didn't even know because most of the time I left Dakar to go elsewhere in the bush with no access to anything. And sometimes people forgot to tell me about things. So I saw so many people, their names, and then I'll tell and my cousin held my hand, like, because I was shaking. So I'm like, some of them I bought some stuff, present to take to them, but I saw that, like, they died. I said, yeah. Then I tell my mom, nobody told me. They say, well, I don't know. Some of them died maybe 5 years before that. I always thought they were alive, and I was going to see them, to visit them. I was anxious, you know, here to visit them. And among them was my dad's best friend, who was a police inspector general, and Nantikunda German, who, you know, kind of raised me too. Amazing, you know, Momodu Siso. So he always loved this, you know, this African attire. I got some, and then a watch to take to him. I went to his house. My aunt was there, his wife, we chatted. Normally he will go because he lived 2 blocks away from Nantikunda German Mosque, around the big tree. So he will go to the mosque, he will stay till late. But then when I went to the house, the aunt and everybody, and we talked, we chatted and stuff. And after 1 hour and stuff, I had his stuff in the bag. And then I asked, oh, Auntie Sophie, where is Daddy? Siso was like, because I assumed he was at the mosque, but then he didn't come, sorry. And then I just like wanted to go. I say, okay, where is Daddy? Daddy Siso. And they started crying. I never knew he died. It was very awkward. Then I called my mom and I said, like, how come nobody told me? But then I checked when he died, that period. I was in some part of Guinea-Bissau. And then Burkina Faso, so nobody could reach me or anything. And I think after they never. So that's all inspired me to. I wanted to talk. I wanted to pour it out. All the things I could kill myself at that time. I just wanted to pour everything out, just to pour it out. But I couldn't talk to people. So, but I love sounds. I love sounds. I love producing sounds. So I'm like, I'm going to pour this out in a sound. Cries. I didn't know I could cry, but I wanted to say that. But it took me more than 10 times to record. That night I stayed in the studio too late recording, but each time I started I would cry. I wanted to wait till I couldn't cry, but it couldn't. Eventually I put it out, and it helped me. I felt so relieved because I put it out. I think from there I was able to move on and stuff. But then up to now I returned to Gambia for good, I think in August or September. But still sometimes, like I go to some places where people are, I will queue, people come past me, they'll be like, fuck, I'm a Gambian too, and then I'll reply. But for a minute I'll forget that I'm a Gambian. Still my heart is in Dakar. Sometimes I struggle to be emotionally attached to this country. I'm struggling most of the time and stuff. But it's a country, it's a Gambia, it's my country, and I'm happy to be here. But it's not that working. I love what I do here, the family, the people, but still, it's not emotionally. I'm not very attached to the country. And I think that makes me feel very angry about what happened before. And it makes me feel I have opportunity because I could pour my life out in an audio. Some people wanted to talk about their stories. They went through worse than I did. But then they had no opportunity to do it. Nobody would listen to them, or they don't trust anybody. And they're not radio producers to put that out in a sound. So I am still grateful,
That's great. Safe still. How did you contribute in fighting dictatorship when you were in Dakar?
I don't know. I think every Gambian did. I think we have this issue of people trying to own this fight, or I fought and stuff. No, this was a continuous process for everybody. I don't know, maybe I spoke as a journalist, I write about things, I spoke to people about things. Maybe those change someone's heart into putting pressure on the regime or anybody for the exit of Jammeh and the end of dictatorship. But then personally to sit and say, oh, I fought and stuff, I think every Gambian, because this fight started the moment Jammeh came to power. Some people at the TRRCs, people who were arrested on the first day of the coup and things like that. The fight to end dictatorship started on day one, when I was too young to fight for anything. So everybody fought. I don't know, everybody, all our little angers and our little frustrations perhaps put everything together is what resulted to. But personally, individually, did I fight anything? No. It's just collective as Gambians. We all came together and, because if you look at it, people who actually effect the change or continue to finish the line, finish the journey, that marathon, are the people who went out there to vote. If they didn't vote or they voted for Jammeh, he would have been here. But I've seen folks like, oh, I did this, I did that, I did. I think that's all nonsense. We all did it. Everybody contributed, every Gambian.
You are right, everybody contributed, even I did. So I never heard him contribute money. Why bobu na ne kudincha bebe ne tambambalu. Say, tell us about GPU. GPU, we heard that you are the president of GPU. So tell my viewers.
What do you want them to know? Well, GPU is the umbrella body of all media practitioners in the Gambia. I think it's been around for the longest, and it has always been active. Not just for journalists. When it started, it was like a pressure group, very political, not partisan, but very politically active, group, and moved from strength to strength at some point because of the dictatorship, and of course, naturally, because of the dangerous risks that journalists face in the country. GPU became, dormant, and then things like that, but then it picked up, and then thanks especially to the executives and the presidents that were there before me and my executive, amazing work, because I don't know of any institution in this country whose members suffered more or the same as the Gambia Press Union, the media fraternity. Journalists were arrested, tortured, held incommunicado, killed. People disappeared, still don't know where they are, and it became a danger for everybody. But then, any other institution or any other organization, I think what very likely it would have collapsed, because then you wouldn't even have anybody to be your president. But the folks that were here while I and others were in exile, they kept the house together. So that I came back, look at it, I came back, I contested, I became president. If there was no GPU or the institution was weak or no foundation, I don't know, I wouldn't have even tried it. But then thanks to people who stayed in this country, who had the opportunity to flee, like all of us, they never fled. They stayed in this country, they took sacrifice, they risked their lives and those of their families to keep the house together. And that's the foundation on which the GPU stand. Our task day and night is to cater for the welfare of Gambian journalists, to look after their welfare, to build their capacity, and to promote, strengthen and maintain excellence in journalism. I mean, this is the task, a very huge task, but this is the task, and it's transition. I've seen people complaining about the standard of journalism, and so I'm aware of that, we're all aware of it. But why is it okay for any institution or the government or every part of Gambia to be accepted as transition because of what we had? They may kill every institution, and now people are transitioning and stuff, but then people expect journalists to come with a bang. And we transitioning to, most of the journalists practicing in this country, including you, started your career during the time of Jammeh. Journalism was risky. You could be killed. Every day there was a roof of insecurity hanging over your head. So it's natural that after Jammeh, when we found ourselves or moved the country in the new political dispensation, it will take time before people adjust, before there is excellence in journalism, before we move from one chapter to another chapter to higher heights. It will take time. But then there's a lot of impatience. Of course, we would want high ethical standards in the country. We want people to respect the rule of the game, people to be professional and professionalize the profession. But it's a slow process. It will take time. Are there things in the Gambian media or the way we operate that I, as an individual, as a journalist, and as president of the Gambia Press Union, am not happy about or happy with? Yes. But are there things that I am proud of and I can celebrate? Yes. So we have this, and then our task is to change every aspect of journalism for the better, for good. But then it's going to take time. Unfortunately, it's taking time, and I think that's why we've seen media outlets coming up. This is why the Chronicle, what the Chronicle is all about.
No, you have to pin your finger there. We'll come to the Chronicles. We will talk about the Chronicles later. You talked about ethics and professionalism. Now talking about ethics and professionalism, how do you see the online media? Every Tom, Dick and Harry opening your small media house. As the president of the GPU, tell us how you see, or you've seen all those media houses that have been opened now in the country. Every Tom, Dick and Harry, anywhere you have your small office you open and then say you are in the media, and then I don't think some people are doing it in the right way. What's your take in that?
My take is positive. I think that is positive. I think that is encouraging to have people setting up media outlets, whether online or offline, traditional or what. This is not the problem. The problem is, what do you do with it after you put it? Look, I would want Gambia to have 1,000 more media outlets, online, offline, but then if you do that, you owe it to the Gambian people, yourself, and in the name of the ethical standards, to be sincere, to be truthful, to be impartial, to be objective, to be just, because we owe that to the Gambian people. Opening an online media or any media is not the problem. The problem will be, are you going by the ethics? Do you promote high ethical standards? Are you honest to yourself and to the people who you report about your consumers, your readers, your viewers, what else it may be, are you honest to them? Are you honest to yourself in terms of what you report? Because journalism is a very, very powerful profession. You can kill, you can save life, you can make or break people, you can be the cause of peace in a country, but you can also be the cause of violence and disruption in a country. So a journalist who is not objective, a journalist who is not professional, and a journalist who is not reliable, who is not truthful, who does not care about his or her integrity, because as a person and as a journalist, I think is a very dangerous one. But then the solution is, not just in this country, so many people are doing bad things in the name of journalism. Perhaps some they're doing it deliberately, but some it's because they don't know. You know, they don't know. You can do stories about something, let's say rape, or you know, kids that are victimized, minors, and you take their photos and you put it online or somewhere. Sometimes because not because they want to do it, they just don't know that this is a violation of ethical standards and law. You know, and that's why at the GPU it's going to be tough, but that's what's been happening, trying to, you know, broaden the horizon of people, of our folks, trying to build their capacity and develop their capacity so they are aware of this. I've always said the Gambia doesn't need 1,000 good journalists. If we have 10, we are good to go.
All right, still, we would like to know what inspired you to contest for GPU presidency.
Actually, nothing. I came back to take this job at the Chronicle. I came back from Senegal to move back to the Gambia, and it coincided with the election at the GPU, with the election. I think I came back the following week, or within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, the campaign started. I can't remember, but I came back then. You know, just within that, 2 weeks, the campaign started. I never thought for once that I would vie for anything at the GPU. Never, ever. I have a busy life. I have busy schedules elsewhere. But I've always been close. I've always been helping. Before that, I would come weekends at my own cost.
Chairman Gambian, those that financed the 2015 coup, when people will be scared when they hear his name and know that he's also the one financing the Chronicles,
well,
one of the partners?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody will be afraid. Yes, Channel Finance that failed the coup, but I mean that is his own life, that is his own business. I'm not here to speak on behalf of Channel. I'm not a spokesman. But then what I can say is a lot of people, a lot of our folks use protests, use all means, everybody, to end the dictatorship. And some folks, including Channel, use coup d'etat to try and change the status quo. That's not the question. Is my contractual agreement with Channel when I was setting this up, or even before, is the total independence, editorial independence of the Chronicle. That was agreed, that was signed, and so far so good. The whole setup, you can see I have a full team. They don't know Channel and Mav, the two founders, the co-founders, they don't know any of these people from Adam. They've never had their names. They don't tell me who I hired. They don't. I did what I felt was right, what I felt I could work with, and they never told me don't do this, don't do that. That is not their business. They want is 100% editorial independence, and then Channel and a lot of others are passionate about the Gambia. I don't know if that's why they wanted to do the coup. They tried to overthrow the government, but it has to be passion. People are passionate about, Channel is very passionate about good news, good story, especially newspaper stories, and that's what actually inspired him to think and then put his resources into this through me. to set up the chronicle. But as far as anything else is concerned, people shouldn't be worried about anything. I mean, if it was Gambia's time, we say, okay, maybe they're worried, but then, you know, there is no reason to be worried. I didn't do any coup. I'm a journalist, and I'm not taking any orders as far as the editorial content of the chronicle is concerned from Cherno or from Mark or from anybody. It's strictly journalistic, based on sincerity, based on truth, you know, and based on professionalism and ethical issues. So nobody should be worried. We're good to go.
Alright, thank you. Waaw ba tey rek mbokk yi ñu doon seetaan tambambalu lañu wax tambambalu la leen indiloon man la seen xarit Adama Faye tey nag ma indiloon leen tambambalu bu spicy bu neex bu ma dajee koo xam ne nag ndaanaan la comme ni ma ko waxee woon si beginning bi ndaanaan nag suñ ko waxee moom mooy Serif Bojang Junior moom mi nga xam ne he's a seasoned journalist tey nag tambambalu def jaxas ba xas ñu boole angale bi boole olof bi mu neex ba bugg a dee waaw programme bi nag soo leen ko buggee am full seetaan nañ ko si suñu YouTube bi Facebook Twitter yéen ñi ñoo follow Instagram ak fu nekk rek soo leen amee buggee am full coverage bi ngeen seetaan ko foofu noonu duma jeexalatu di wax jërëjëf ki dal jaar si kanam bi muy Binta Si waaw may jaajëfal nag suma caméra woman bi ak suma caméraman bi di Moussa Diatta ak Fat Samba def ngeen ba mu baax waaye kanam bi tamit nag Binta Si fa jaar moom mi nga xam ne mooy suñu daanaani Gambian Talents TV Gambian Talents TV ñun rek ak yeneen tambambalu toppale ñu si beneen bis bu ay jërëjëf